Alright, so we're back in the world of Monster Hunter Wilds, and it looks like there's a pretty damn OP way of giving yourself a ton of resources in terms of the ability to craft weapon parts as well as decorations, and it requires almost little effort to do it, hunting no monsters, and you can get a screen full of essentially really high quality, high rarity weapon parts and decorations with very little effort. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the method, gonna show you the results, and then at the end of the video tell you if it's worth your time. So if you're a player who wants to maybe consider doing this at your primary farm, you'll have a better understanding of the method. And before we dive into the video, I'm going to have a Reddit post down in the description from Labaz. This is the person on Reddit who discovered this method, so if you want to go check it out, a more written breakdown of it, go ahead and check it out. And just like that, hunters, let's dive into the videos. Alright, now that you've seen the awesome results of this farm, let's go over how to set it up. And keep in mind, there is a minor setup that you need to do in order to do this, and it's going to require you to have a few quests and a few pop-up camps and things like that. So let's quickly go over the setup. And what we're looking for specifically is a optional quest called a Leviathan's Temper. And this is a Hunter Rank 21 where you have to face off against a Temper Balahara. Now, we don't care about facing off against a Temper Balahara, we just need this to proc the quest because it is a evening specific quest, and it's perfect for this because we're going to be taking advantage of some type of vendors. The next thing you need to do is come over here and speak to this cat, not this one, this one. And what this cat does is the pop-up camp cat, and he's going to manage a few of your pop-up camps, and we're going to do in the Windward's Plain. And specifically, you're looking to make sure that there are 2 camps up. That is, well, 2 sets of camp. This is area 4, which is in the Mineral Cave east and west, Mineral Cave in the west. You can see on the map left there is in the 4 and 5 area. Go pick those 2 camps up. They're typically pretty okay, but this one can be destroyed sometimes. And then you're looking for the 9 and 10 because these are going to be your teleportation camps. You can see there one of my camps is already destroyed. We're going to quick repair that. And this is going to be your other teleportation location because this is where you're going to need to teleport to get to the mechanic, which is basically some blooms that you need to pick up, some flowers to take advantage. Now the next thing you need to do is come over here to the place called Soja Peaks of Accord and essentially talk to this lady here named Seka. And what you're looking for with Seka is the ability to trade. Now as you can see here, we have the actual thing we want, which is called the Nightflower Pollen. You trade it for the gold melding tickets. These gold melding tickets will give you the ability to meld a ton of really high rarity decoration for the cost of just 1 melding ticket, and this is what we're taking advantage of. Now, the thing is, you need to get the Nightflower Pollen. And the thing about the Nightflower Pollen is it has a unique spawn, which is typically at night during a full moon, and that's a very specific time in the night, so obviously, you know, you need to be prepared for it. Lucky for us, we are 1 day before the full moon. Now we're back at the Windward's Plain, and one thing to keep in mind is now you can talk to Nata, and Nata will have the inventory of Saka at the item tray, so Seka here, and as you can see, her item vendor trade is here. And unfortunately, the things that we wanted expired, but it doesn't matter because once we actually get the items, we can just trade it with her, and you're gonna have to trade it with her every day, and like reset her shop. So you're going to have enough night pollen to buy multiples. You're not going to spend it on anything other than that specific thing. So you may have an excess of them. And then you just progress the time a day. And while you're waiting for the next full moon cycle, you can just keep checking the shop. And that's super important. The other thing to note is seeing that these guys are here. You can check for the festival shares since you're already progressing time. And material retriever, you can check for all this stuff too. You can grab all this while you're waiting anyway, so it's actually kind of nice that you're waiting for all this. So yeah, make sure you do all that. So on the screen now you should see the different moon phases, and time will essentially progress through these individual phases. And what you're trying to do is try to get to basically the phase where it is not completely the full moon but almost a full moon, and that's the phase you're basically waiting for. Now as you can probably tell, looking at the moon now, it's not quite a full moon just yet, but it's almost a full moon, and this is kind of where you want to essentially be in order to get the pollen that we're looking for. So once you're at this phase, this is super important, we're going to go back and we're going to go to sleep. And around this time, what we're looking for specifically is to rest, and you're going to use points for this, by the way, but you're going to go to plenty, we're going to change it to evening, not nighttime, evening, because essentially the reason why we're changing it to evening, you can change it to nighttime, but if you change it to nighttime, what's going to happen is you're going to have less time to collect the pollen, because it will eventually go to day. There is a progressive time cycle, if that makes sense. So we're going to do the day before the full moon, and then we're going to go there to the evening before it becomes night, because we're going to take the quest, and the quest is going to take us to where we need to go to essentially get all the pollen. But you know, if you do it at night, you're going to be there, and then the moon is going to go down faster. If you're preemptively set up in the evening, you can just be there ready for the pollen to spawn. That's the concept. So now that it's evening, as you can see, it's still night, not night just yet. So now we're going to pick up the quest that we told you to get, the Leviathan's Temper from the optional. And the starting location that we're going to go to is we're going to go to number 10 southeast. So we're here at the quest, and you're going to just make your way to essentially the bloom, and the bloom should be right about here. So we're going to click the Vigor Wasp. Run, you. Run. Almost said the F word, guys. This guy never runs. And so it should spawn right about here, give or take. So you can see here on the map, it's called Ephemeral Blossom. And it is right here where I'm standing. It's actually right next to the tree. And this is what you're going to be gathering. So we're going to gather this. Boom. Super easy. And now we got the night flower pollen. And this only spawns on full moon at this specific time. And obviously you're going to make your way. And then from here, you're going to take your material camp 4 or the other one here if it didn't get destroyed. And you're going to make your way up to the top. And we're going to essentially float down. And then we're going to just come here to the location for the other one, and it's essentially right here. You can just mark it. Once you get more used to it, you'll know where it's at. Jump off the thing here. And that's really all the route. That's all you really need to do. Once you have it, come back to base. I'm gonna just do the route one more time, just so you guys know exactly how to do it. It's already pre-selected from return from quests. I'm not exactly sure what the timer is in terms of how long the moon is out, but it doesn't matter. What matters is getting this bloom so that we can take advantage of the melding. Alma, my dear. Quest optional, Leviathan Temper. 10, quick start and go. Yeah, and that's the night flower pollen rotation. So yeah, we're gonna fast forward to after the time go by, and we're gonna go ahead and just pretty much just show you an example of how much stuff we can get from turning in all these flowers and doing this stuff, right? And I'm only gonna do like one rotation while I'm explaining it to you, just to show you if you're way more efficient, you don't have to have someone explaining it to you. You're just doing it, how much you can get out of it. That's what we're gonna do. See you in just a moment. All right, friends. So after finishing up all the rotation, which actually didn't last that much longer after the video, I'm going to show you the results of the farm, just to give you guys a better understanding of if it's worth it. So we're at the melding pot here in the Soldier, whatever the hell this place is called. We're going to meld some relics. Let's meld the Ancient Orbs sword, and the reason we're doing Ancient Orb sword is because these can roll the highest of rarities, and this can roll for weapons. We don't need armor. You can do armor if you want. We're going to do that, and then we're going to use all our gold melding tickets, and as you can see there, we're going to get 70 melding orbs. So let's meld 70 of them. So as you can see there, that is quite a few items. So just going over what we got, because this is quite a few. Poison Coat, Dragon Crit Element, pretty decent. Guard Bolt Jewel, this is actually really good for my Thunder build. Crit Jewel 3. A Bolt Crit Element, pretty decent. What else did we get? Expert Jewel with Horn Mistral. I don't think that's very good. What else? Anything? Dragon Shield. Guard up. That's pretty okay for my Dragon Slayer setup. Handicraft. Sleep. Attack Jewel. Okay. Got some pretty decent stuff. Expert Jewel. Not trying to make the video too much longer, but just showing you because I'm sure you guys want to see the results. There's another attack jewel. That's actually pretty big. I like the attack jewel. Got a crit boost jewel as well. Pretty solid. Crit element. Actually got a guard jewel, so that's really helpful. This could be super good for a insect glaive build. Some pretty solid stuff here. Nothing to lose sleep over, but pretty solid stuff. Guardian jewel, another guardian jewel, a water guard. Some really good stuff here. So we're gonna take all this, and as you can see there, it was a pretty insane haul. So definitely worth it. And then of course we did get ancient weapon fragments because we did get gold relic tickets on top of this, and we got about 5 of these, which is gonna give us 75. So let's go over this one as well and see what we got. So 75 of them. And as you can probably tell looking at the screen, got quite a few. So a lot of rarity 8 stuff. This method is pretty decent. But as you can see there, that's a lot of stuff. Dragon Blast. I can actually probably make about 5 Artan weapons with this, maybe a little bit more. Pretty decent farm. So we got 75 of this one, 70 of the other one, and I think I did this for less than an hour. I think this is pretty decent. So yeah, let's go over my final thoughts on how I feel and if I think it's worth it. So my snap reaction at looking at the results are, it depends on what point you are in the game if it's worth your time. If you have a pretty solid all-around build already, I do believe that just going out and just farming enemies is going to be way more efficient than doing this method, because while it isn't necessarily the hardest, it does take a lot of research points. It does have a little bit of a setup, and it is a little bit time consuming, and you know, you kind of have to get things done in a certain time period, and it can, you know, be a little bit annoying to do. But with that said, if you are a player who is maybe, let's say for example, a little bit more entry level into high rank, your build isn't the most efficient, and you want to essentially get strong, this could be a really solid option. Or even better, if you're someone who's want to farm because you are going to be progressing time, and you can do the method where I told you to like put on your botany armor and just pick everything up and, you know, get a little bit of extra resources. For that kind of player, this method in my opinion is pretty solid. The caveat to this is it does use a lot of your research points, which isn't necessarily the greatest, because those points can be used to make investigations or do something a little bit more useful. But again, it's gonna depend on the player that you are. I guess the question you have for me is, will I be actively doing this? Me personally, it depends on the day. It depends on what I'm doing at the time. If I have friends who actively do quests with, probably not. I'll go play with them, because I do have like friends that have real life jobs that isn't just doing YouTube like me, and I don't necessarily want to progress too far without them, because I have investigations saved specifically for them. So for me, doing something like this could be really, really nice, just kind of in my downtime while watching Twitch. But in most cases, if my friends are actively about and we're playing, no, I won't be doing this method. I'll just be farming naturally, because I do think me killing things in about 4 or 5 minutes is way more efficient than sitting there resetting and doing this method. It's still a solid method, but not necessarily the most OP method, as you probably will hear when a lot of creators start pushing this method out. That's just my personal take on it. I'd like to know what you guys think, your results and things of the sort. If you think it's actually worth your time, if it's not, let me know down in the comments. If this video did help you out, don't forget to like as well as subscribe. I promise you I will be covering every major game you're probably going to be playing in the next year and beyond, so make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to give you really informative guides just like this one for those games, so yeah, subscribe. And just like that, hunters, I'll see you in the next Monster Hunter Wilds video very soon.